Welcome to the Millionaires mini-series with your hosts Stephanie Keith and Stacy Failing, here to set you up with the most luxurious version of yourself. This podcast is filled with wealthy women vibes and a sneak peek into the millionaire's lifestyle. Whether your inner millionaire's dreams of taking private jets to deserted islands or you prefer the lighter side of luxury, we have an opportunity for you that is priceless.
Come join us as we share with you all of our juicy money secrets, mindset hacks, and so much more. Money may not buy happiness, but it can provide you with an abundant life beyond your wildest dreams. So turn up the volume, adjust your crown, and get ready to embrace your inner millionaire-ess.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Millionaires Mindset Podcast. So today, Stacy and I were thinking we're going to talk about the shit that we wish someone would have told us when we were getting ready to start our business. And, I feel like there's always things that you just have to learn the hard way. It's just a part of life. But there's a lot of things where I'm like, man, I really wish I wouldn't have wasted so much time focusing on this and not that. So that's what we're going to dive into today. And I think, Stacy, my number one thing was just, I wish someone would have shaken me and just said, get started, get going, because I am an overthinker. And I thought, with my podcast, for example, I sat on that idea for 2 years before I got started. And had I gotten started 2 years prior, that was when all these podcasts were blowing up, and the people that started at that key time just took off. And so I'm kicking myself now. I'm like, man, why didn't I just do it? Just bite the bullet and get started. Did you do the same thing with your business?
Yes, so much so. And you're just getting to this analysis paralysis where I was taking all the things, I was researching everything, I was reading, I was getting certifications, and just FYI, that is not something that anybody needs. Your own expertise and your experience and your story is honestly what's going to drive your business. So you don't have to do all of the things to get started. You just have to take action. And I wish that I didn't waste a year plus just racking my brain with all of well, how am I going to make this happen? And what about this? And I need to get this going in order to do this. And I was just taking so many unnecessary steps that if I just would have taken a step into that action space, I would have gotten started and probably propelled a lot quicker than I did too. But it was just, when you're that overthinker, it's so easy to get wrapped up in the I'm not ready, I will start when, the kids go to school, or you just come up with all these reasons why not to get started. And I just want everybody to know that that is the worst thing that you can do when you're starting a business. And I know it's scary, but that action step is what's going to make a difference. And like Steph said, you could miss out on opportunities that you didn't even know were waiting for you by just sitting there in that how mindset.
And there's always an excuse. If you think, I'll do it when the kids are back in school, or I'll do it when I have more money to invest, that time is never going to come, because there's always going to be an excuse. You're just basically telling yourself that you get to put it off and not worry about it. And the best way to learn too is by taking action. It's I see so many people that are trying to learn everything up front, and it's just not going to happen. You could watch 100 hours or 1,000 hours of YouTube videos on creating an app or starting a podcast, but nothing is going to actually teach you how to do that than trying to start a podcast or create an app. Some things you just have to learn hands-on by just doing the thing. And so I think we all need that little push. And I think some of us are subconsciously looking for that. We want someone to come and tell us okay, you're ready. You could do this. And so we're telling you that now, stop procrastinating and just get started, and you can thank us later.
Yeah. I love the quote, ready is a lie, because it's so true. You're never ready, because there's always going to be life and things are going to happen. And for me, it was the thought that, I was going to be this imposter if I showed up just as me with no credentials. I have credentials, but not in that niche space that I was looking to go into. And the truth is I spent so much time trying to figure out who my niche was When in fact, here's a little secret. Okay. I did all of this work only to find out and then have it confirmed over and over again that the person that you are meant to create a business for is the person that you were 5, 10 years ago. So if you went through something, if you have experience, if you have a story to tell, if there is something that transformed you or something like what we're doing right now, we're teaching you the things that we wish we knew 5 years ago. And so it's just helping somebody through something that you went through. And so you're the expert in that space. So please don't waste so much time figuring out who it is that your business is for. It's for you. It's for an older version of you to try to help people that are in that space navigate whatever it was that you went through down that same path, but to give them some shortcuts so that they don't have to go through that. And part of taking action, like Steph said, is you're going to make mistakes. And we've all made mistakes. And it's okay because that's a part of the process. But the best thing about making mistakes is that I like to say you fail forward. So you failed maybe, but that failure led you into a new direction in where you're supposed to be headed in your business. And you just learn like that throughout. I mean, businesses are, I mean, Steph, you can vouch for me on this, but you're really just kind of faking it until you make it a little bit because you're just doing things and you're trying so many things that, all the courses and everything that, somebody has set up something for you might not be aligned for you, but you have to take that information and tailor it into what works for you. And so that's what creating a business is about, is just, it's one, figuring out, this direction that you're headed in, but two, how to make all of these things and all this information in your own story work to create something that is going to be specific to your audience. And I think we get so overwhelmed with the idea that this is a saturated space and that there's so many other people in this space. But that might be true. But the thing is that you have something unique that nobody else in that space can touch on or speak on, and nobody's going to be able to do it the way that you're doing it. And so all the information out there and everything is just meant to help guide you and to give you some sort of direction, but it's your job to not overanalyze that and just take your unique gifts and your unique story and kind of fit it into that outline so that you can move forward and speak to the audience that is meant to hear your offer.
Yeah. And sometimes that's the best thing you can do is go in without a whole lot of knowledge. Because sometimes when we research things too much and we get that analysis paralysis, we see what everyone else is doing and we think we have to do things that way. And we don't. And so sometimes when you go in without that prior knowledge and you just kind of do things your way, you will have greater success than if you try to follow the plan that everyone else is doing. And the best example I have for that, because I see literally every online business person doing this, is wasting so much time and energy growing social media. It's like somewhere out there, we just got the idea that if I grow my social media, if I have more and more followers, that's how I grow my business. And that may have been true to an extent, like back in the day when Instagram actually was a platform you could grow on, but that's not the case anymore. And I just see so many people getting so frustrated and are constantly like, oh my gosh, like I just don't get this algorithm and I'm stagnant and I'm not growing. And why don't I have any engagement? And instead of spending all of those hours worrying about that, if you just redirect your energy onto things that are actually working, it would save you so much frustration and so much time and energy. And I was doing the same thing. And so that's another thing I wish someone could have told me was like, get off social media. How many times do you have to look at the numbers to see like it is just not working? It's not translating to income growth when you grow your social media. And what is translating to income growth? Well, my podcast, my app, and Pinterest. Okay, so how much time am I spending on those three things? The least amount of time. And it's like, I wish I would have figured that out years ago, because I'm just now getting to the point where I'm giving myself permission to take a step back from social media and invest more time and energy in those three things. And the payoff is huge. So for anyone listening that thinks, oh my gosh, I don't have a following, I don't like social media, you don't need it. You don't need it. And don't listen to all of these people out there that make it sound like you have to be an influencer with millions of followers. What I would recommend is getting started with a podcast, creating your own app, and getting a Pinterest business account. And if you could do those three things, I guarantee you, like, you will have way more growth than trying to figure out the whole world of social media. What's
Mhm.
your take on it, Stacy?
I 100% agree, because I also got wrapped in the idea that, you have to have all these followers. And the other thing that I got so wrapped up in is thinking I had to have a website. In the very beginning of starting my business, that was the first step that I took. And like the whole idea of I will build it and they will come. And I still don't have a website right now. I mean, it's up, but it's not really fully functional. And I don't really have a purpose for it, because I nurture my audience through emails and my podcast. And I mean that's it. So I have the following and I have a little bit of social media, but where I get the most growth is from my podcast, and then having some sort of freebie where people can opt in, and then I can nurture them through my email sequences. And I just think that we go so above and beyond, and having to have all the things and having to be so present on social media. And the thing is social media could disappear tomorrow and all of that content is gone. Your followers are gone. And I know it sounds scary, but it's completely possible. And the thing about having your app and Pinterest and a podcast is that it's yours. There is not going to be this like wiping of your following or your episodes or your content when you use a platform like a podcast or an app. And that content is yours, you own it, and then you own your email list. So that is the best, most secure way to grow your business and make sure that you continue to evolve, because like I said, tomorrow your social media could be gone, and then everything that you've built is gone and you don't have anything. And that would just be a devastating situation. And so I just think to build in that security. And I don't know about the app on your end, Steph, but the podcast, I think some people are a little apprehensive because it's not quick growth. But for me, I think that, the slow to grow, the organic growth is the most sustainable growth. And it's kind of like that long haul. You just have to put in the effort, be consistent with it, and you'll start to see growth. And for the podcast, when I look at my analytics, it's steady growth. And as long as you have steady growth, that's perfect. That's what you want, to gain that organic traffic. You don't need to have thousands of followers in 6 months to be able to have a successful business. And that's one of the worst myths I think that we've been taught, is we got to blow up our social media. We have to have this beautiful website before we can do anything else.
Right, exactly. And, I think with the podcast too, you get like loyal listeners, because instead of giving you a couple of seconds of their attention, like social media, they're giving you like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. I can't tell you how many people will message me and they're like, oh, over the weekend, I just binged every single episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, holy shit, like how many hours did you listen to? But it builds a relationship and they feel like they know you. They feel like they can trust you. And so it's a completely different thing than just scrolling through social media and seeing a 5-second reel and hitting the like button. So
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree. And I know you have your podcast course that is going to be launching soon, where you're going to walk people through the process. And I have my app course that just came out as well. And this is what I hear from so many different people. They're like, well, that's great. I would love to start a podcast. I would love to have an app, but I am not technical. I'm not tech savvy. Like, I'm not good with that stuff. I wouldn't even be able to do that. And that's the other thing that I wish someone would have told me, because I said the same thing when I wanted to get started with podcasting. I was like, there's no way. There is no way I could figure this out. And when I finally bit the bullet, I figured out everything that I truly needed. I already had, minus a mic that I ordered for, I think I ordered like a $20 mic in the beginning on Amazon. And then Stacy, I'm not even kidding you. I watched a YouTube video and figured out how to edit. And I was like, this is so easy. Why did I spend 2 years worrying about this? Like once you know it, you know it. And it's not hard. And so I think that people like have this idea that it's like the olden days where you have to know how to code and you have to have like a whole studio. And that is just not the case anymore. Like, thank God it's not the case. You know,
Mhm.
we've got so much technology available. And even with creating an app, it's like I had to figure it out on my own and learn it. And once I did, I was like, this wasn't bad. You know, it's like you think that you have to be some computer geek or something. And I've never been like that. I don't know how to code or anything. But thanks to the technology we have, you can build these things out in a day. It's like, it's not hard. Everything is plug and play, everything is figure outable, like Maria Forleo always
Mhm.
says. And so just don't let the tech side of things hold you back because everything can be figured out. And anything that you can't figure out, guess what? There's YouTube videos. You can hire someone for like $5 or $20 on Fiverr. Like there's so many options to get over those technical hurdles that you just can't let that be your excuse because that is the easy part that can always be figured out.
Yeah. And the other thing too is cost. Like, oh my gosh, how much is this going to cost? And I know for your, building an app and your app course and, through my podcast course, you can set up a podcast for under $200 with everything that you need. And like you said, probably have most of it already on hand. And so I know in your course as well as mine, that is what we are doing. And I have like videos where I screen share to show you exactly because I have to see things in order to learn it. And so it's literally taking everything that you need and I'm giving you a checklist. So you have all of your equipment needs, all of your software needs. I show you exactly how to find, download what you need, how to edit, all of that stuff on screen share so that I walk you through so that you can absolutely see step by step. In 6 weeks or less, you can go from not having anything to having a successfully launched podcast. And I know inside of your app course, it's going to be very similar in just walking people through and taking all of those things that we wish we would have known when we got started and showing people that from the very beginning so that we can take out that mess that we had to go through for them. So it just becomes even easier because now we have the how to, and we're going to show you the exact how to. And like I said, for a very small investment, you can have those things and then you're going to escalate, you're going to monetize, you're going to start growing your following, and you're going to have that income, that passive income that we all want, where we don't have to think about it because it's on autopilot. You put in the front work of building your podcast, you put in the work and building your app, but once it's done, it's there, it's out in the world. And now you just get to enjoy it and get that passive income from what it is that you built. So it really is a lot easier. It's not so time consuming as you might think, and definitely very cost effective.
Yeah. And this is actually the advice that I'm giving my 14-year-old because, it's like everyone's already filling her head with like, well, what college do you want to go to? What do you want to do for a living? And I was like, listen, if you want to go to college and you want to get some degree, like go for it. I will support you. But I said, I'm just going to give you a piece of advice. If there's something that you really want to do, like let's say you follow someone online and you're like, man, I wish I could have their life. I wish I could do what they do. I said, let me know. And I will gladly hire that person or someone like them to teach you how to do it. Get a coach and have them show you what they do and how they do it. It's way cheaper than college and you can have a business up and running. And so she was talking about podcasting and I was like, great, I can help you with that. Stacy can help you with that. But that's the other thing. It's like instead of trying to figure it out on your own, find someone that is doing what you want to do and see if they have a course, see if they have coaching, see if they have anything available where they can just show you. Because when I first started my business, I was like doing it the cheap ass way. Like I did not really invest in the beginning and I tried to figure everything out on my own. And it's like, if I would have just bit the bullet and taken a course or gotten a coach in the beginning, I definitely would have had everything up and running years earlier, And so that's just the way I look at it now. It's like, instead of trying to figure this out and go through all the mistakes on my own, who can help me do this? And there's usually someone that I've been following or into at that point in time. And I kind of reach out and see what they have available. But time is money. And it's like, if you can get these passive income streams up quickly, like the app is 6 weeks, the podcast is quick, you can start monetizing that. You can not only get your money back, but you can actually start building that passive income. And when you have the passive income, you have the lifestyle of freedom. So you can do what you want. Stacy likes to go out boating with her family. She's got kids she wants to be home with. She doesn't want to be at work all the time. I've got 2 toddlers and a 14-year-old. Like, I want to be at home. I want to be the one raising them. So the passive income streams allow me to do that. And thank God I have them set up. But it's like, the longer you procrastinate, the further off you're pushing that additional income. So if it's something that you desire, it's like, Stacy and I are giving you the how. People are always asking us, I can't help but wonder how. And we always say with manifestation, like, don't worry about the how, let the universe figure it out. But then recently I thought, you know what? Maybe we are the ones that are like, the universe is using to show people a way. It doesn't have to be the only way, but we're showing you a way. We're giving you a how you can have a lifestyle of freedom, be home with your kids, but still have an income and not have to be on some crazy budget or anything like that. So if either one of those is something that you're interested in, we'll link everything in the show notes. And of course, you can always find us on Instagram to get the links as well.
Yeah. And let this be a sign, because it's all about divine timing and the law of attraction. It's like you said, when you were looking for something and you had an idea, all of a sudden somebody shows up and you start connecting with that person and you start following them. And it might take you a little while to figure out if you know and trust them and want to work with them. But it's so true. Every time that I've had this idea, it's like somebody will pop up and I'm just gravitated towards them. And lo and behold, they have this offer that just is exactly what I was looking for. The universe was like, okay, I hear you. Here it is. And it was up to me to take that action and decide if that's really what I wanted to do. And 9 times out of 10, it worked out exactly as it set me up for exactly what I was looking for. And so I just encourage you, if this is like, oh my gosh, I've been thinking about starting an app, or I've been thinking about starting a podcast, then let this be your sign that this is for you, because I've done it so many times and it was just, I just had to put it out there and ask. And so the how is given to you, just like Steph said, we are giving that to you with everything that we have learned, and avoiding the mistakes on your end, which is going to just set you up even quicker than we were able to get through. And all the things that we had to go back and kind of tweak because we didn't know, because we were doing it on our own. All of that is going to be set up for you. So it's going to be super easy. Like I said, 6 weeks or less, and you could be making that passive income. So everything will be in the show notes for you. Stay tuned. We've got a series coming up that we're going to talk more about setting up your successful lifestyle and building that passive income and setting up generational wealth for your kiddos, and how we can help you build that as well. So stay tuned for more. We'll see you back here next week.